Thank you for joining us again. This is J.Gerrard and the J.Gerrard Show. Welcome to another week in the studio. Tonight, we have the beautiful Nicole Lynn.
Hi.
And tonight, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. But I do want to say, first of all, to everyone that's joining us again, and give you a little bit of time to call a friend and call a family member, tell somebody it's time to log on to get plugged in tonight. We're going to cover a lot of subjects here tonight. But basically, I just wanted to take this time to introduce to you guys a person that I've known for some years. Beautiful person that I would say, and I probably would refer to her as a beautiful woman of God. Okay, not to be too religious. Okay, because y'all know I don't get into the whole religion thing. But just a beautiful person, beautiful characteristics, a person I think stand out in the community, that does a lot in the community. But first, before I get into telling somebody's business and everything that they do, Miss Nicole, how are you today?
I am wonderful. And yourself?
I am doing just great.
Very
Excited to
good.
have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. Very excited. So I know we've talked prior to you coming on, and we've like touched on a lot of things that we want to talk about. But the first thing I would like to touch around, just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are, and make your introduction to the audience.
To everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Well, God, you said a mouthful. First and foremost, I am just really excited and humbled, pleasantly surprised that you asked me to join. A little bit about me. I'll be 50 on my birthday. I'm a Pisces queen.
Okay.
And I love doing a lot of different things. Fashion, of course, and style is one of them. A real estate professional. I've been in the banking and finance industry for 30 years.
Wow.
And I love people. So
Okay.
anything that gives me an opportunity to help someone, it is very fulfilling for me. And I love it.
Okay.
I have a daughter that's 19. Her name is Lyric, and she is the love of my life.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Cool. 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 So, fashion, you said a lot of different stuff. Fashion,
Yep.
real estate. How did you where did you start and which way did you go? And was that always something that you was interested in? The real
Well,
estate, the
it's
fashion,
it's
finance?
funny, and I also do event planning.
Okay.
But it's funny. Back in I started trying to obtain my real estate license years ago. Back when I was a VP, I think at the time I was with, I want to say it was Bank of America. I've worked for
Okay.
several financial institutions in different roles. So whether it was leadership, sales, underwriting, loan officer, all of that. And several months ago, I didn't decide. You ever worked on a job and you just felt like you weren't unhappy, but you
Mm-hmm.
just felt like there was more you could do.
Right.
Um, and so I just started praying about it. And I was
Okay.
like, Lord, I know there's something that you want me to do. Show
Right.
me what it is.
Right.
And I don't know. He just kind of laid it in my spirit and
Right.
was like, I want you to get your real estate license. And so I
Hmm.
did.
Okay.
I didn't know where the journey
Wow.
was going to take me. I didn't
Okay.
know, what was going to
And how many
happen.
years ago you said that was
This
before?
was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yep, this was
Okay.
last year. And
Okay.
so I said, well, okay, God, I'm going to do
Hmm.
it. I'm going to follow you. Whatever it is that you want me to do,
Okay.
I'm going
So
to
this
do
was
it.
2020.
This was 2020.
2020 was something else. 2020,
2020 was a
it was
year.
something
Okay.
else. It
Can I
inspired a
just
lot
say,
of
like,
people.
woo, Lord,
Right.
it was
People got out
interesting.
of they got that stuff off their vision boards and
Man,
started living it.
it
That's what
was,
I believe.
yeah, it was a whirlwind for me in
Okay.
more ways than one, but I'm here and I'm
Okay.
thankful.
Okay. So,
Yep.
okay, 2020 put you in the go ahead and you better do what's in your spirit move.
Yeah, and God just blew my mind.
Okay.
Like, it was a whirlwind. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I started selling, and I think last year I probably had, I don't know, maybe 10 closings in a matter of 90 days.
Oh, wow.
Um,
So
so
what is
yeah.
that? What do you think that is? What is that? How does something like that happen? And the only reason I'm saying this because I heard you say, okay, I just prayed and I asked God.
Yep.
There's a lot of heavy, religion
Yeah.
overtones to it, and
Yeah.
and I'm not saying this, but you're a business person,
I am. Yeah.
so how do you put those formulas together? Okay, like, okay, well, my spirit says, well, you should do this,
Mm-hmm.
and being a spirit led person myself, I
Uh-huh.
understand because the spirit doesn't always speak what is
What you're
evident or
supposed to
what
do.
is
Right.
readily available in front of us.
Absolutely.
So how do you do that? Where do you find that strength to say, you know what, this is what's in my spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that it's in my spirit, and I'm gonna go because sometimes the circumstances are not always like, yeah, this is the right thing to
Yeah,
do.
this is the right.
Sometimes circumstances look like this is the wrong way to go.
Absolutely. Been there
So
as well.
how do you
How do you
find
connect
that?
the two?
How do you connect the two?
I think whatever the higher being is that you serve, for me, is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And so for me, it was understanding that He has never left me nor forsaken me.
Right,
And based on the relationship that I had with Him, it was just in my spirit. This is
right,
what I want you to do. Like,
right,
ever since I was a little girl, I've always loved anything related to fashion and style. And like I said, I love people. And so for me, it was the right thing to do. Being a banking and finance professional for so many years, it was like, it's a lucrative industry. It
right,
affords me the opportunity to have a flexible schedule,
right.
to go and come as I please. And I'm pretty much working for myself. So it's just really rewarding to put me in a position to do the things that I need to do for me. And, that's what this career is doing for me. Along with all the other things that I enjoy,
Right.
I feel like I'm finally in a place where I'm fulfilling the purposes that He placed inside of me. And it is amazing.
Okay. So is it I've arrived at that place, or is it just the I'm in His trust?
I'm in His
Is
trust.
that what it feels? Because
Yeah,
He can turn the
yeah.
page at any time,
Hey,
right?
hey. I mean, you can look at something in a split second and it
Hmm.
can change right
Right,
before your eyes. And that's
right,
what happened to me.
right.
Like my whole world as I knew it changed
Changed. Right,
right before my eyes.
right.
And, there were certain phases of that. And I was like, Lord, I'm trusting you because I really, truly don't know if this is the right thing
Right,
I am supposed to do.
right,
But today I look back on the decisions that I made and it feels like it's right.
right,
And it feels like it all came from
right.
Him.
I think sometimes, like, cause in my experience, like, I think sometimes we can know too much and we can be too,
Yeah.
and we can try so much. And especially being a person of faith, and you're trying to exercise your faith, and you
Yep.
want to rest and let God do it.
Yeah.
But
The
when
flesh.
you know that, right, when you know, hey, I can do this,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I can make this phone call,
Right.
or, I know
Right.
this person that could get me in this business,
Yeah. Yeah.
even without permission, but I could be right in,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there are a lot of opportunities sometimes that are presented
Sure.
to you,
It doesn't mean
but
it's the right one.
absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's an important thing that a lot of
Yeah.
people miss. I've
Right.
seen really good people get lost,
Yeah.
because they wanted the opportunity, but they didn't take
Yeah.
the time to measure the thing in their spirit and
Mm-hmm.
to acknowledge God.
Sure.
And I
Sure.
always use that scripture. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, and all your ways
He will direct
acknowledge
the path.
Him, and He will direct your path. And that is something that I grew up with, always believing.
Yes.
And it's amazing how you grow up and you see people allowing other things to be the
To lead
incentive,
them. Yep.
other than God's will,
Mm-hmm.
for their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So your faith was a big part of
Oh, absolutely.
your,
My
and where
decision.
does,
Yeah.
right, where does that come from? Is that something, did you grow up
Mm-hmm. I
in
did.
in the
I
church?
did. I grew up in the church. My mom was, extremely spiritual. God rest her soul. But, that is what I rely on. That's what I know. And I've strayed away from that.
Right, of
It's
course.
of course it's no secret.
Right.
We all have.
Absolutely.
But today I
Mhm.
use that to keep me grounded,
Right.
and I use that to keep me focused
Right.
and on the right track.
Right. So it's like
And
the foundation was laid a long time ago.
yes,
We just tried to build a whole bunch of crap on
I
it.
tried to do it on my own.
Right. Don't we all?
But I realized.
Don't, right. Right. But I don't think, and this is what I say, because we have on J.Gerrard show, we talk about a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And lately the conversation's been a lot about relationships.
Okay.
And I've always, I've wondered, and I even said to the audience, like, why is this what everybody want to talk about
Yeah.
when there are so many other things? But I think the root of everything that was, that we were missing and that a lot of people were missing
Mm-hmm.
is that you have to be spiritually grounded.
Sure.
And I think, and the reason I say spiritually grounded is because your spirit it won't be subject to any carnal thing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be based on any circumstances or, or a lust for this or a lust for that. That's more into your carnal nature.
Right.
So when you don't have that spiritual foundation,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it a little bit more, that much more difficult,
Sure.
to
Absolutely.
comprehend which way is the way to go or
Mm-hmm.
which. And then also, we live in a day where, we're empowered.
Yeah.
A lot of people are empowered. We information is at our hands
Yeah.
now, more than ever.
Right.
And whereas the old people used to have to pray and ask God for, for direction, we can Google
Right.
and get
You
directions.
get too much information.
Too much information. You know what I mean? And see, that's another thing,
Yeah.
because knowledge is not always wisdom.
Absolutely.
You can know a
Ooh.
lot and not
Mm.
know enough.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you
Right.
mean.
So that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
back to you moving into the real estate thing, and I
Mhm.
think that's very interesting. And then the story that you said with the 10 closings, and you know what I mean? I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. And I think that it's a blessing too. I think in my personal life, I've noticed that when you go in the direction of the spirit
Mm-hmm.
and when you stop resisting what you know is in your heart,
Mm.
and sometimes it can be, against what you have planned for yourself.
Sure.
And again, like I say, we should acknowledge God and allow him to direct our paths.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens on every level. I don't want people to just think, the little guy on the bottom, he's down there and
Right.
he's always on his knees.
Right.
There are people that are completely lost, that are
Right.
very successful. And if they
Mhm.
don't go on their knees, you know what I mean? They'll
I
wreck
know
it
exactly
all.
what you mean. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we're all held together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
believe, by God's presence in our lives.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
some people, will substitute that presence with other things. Some people will pursue their own lives. Some people will present a life to you
Right.
and want you to believe that that's the actual life. But what I like to focus on and what I like to talk about is the struggle
Mm-hmm.
sometime. And it's not even really a struggle, because I think when we realize that in God these things are already established, these foundations are already set. And these are like things that you just really have to line up with. Now that's getting
Absolutely.
like really
Deep.
like deep. But
It's already written.
it's already
It's
written.
already written.
It's already written,
Yep.
and I believe it's according to purpose.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, do you feel like that was part of your purpose that was being revealed when you felt that in your heart?
Yeah, I do. And
Okay.
I still feel like there's more to come. There's
Okay.
a journey. And I'm just on the ride. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
He's using me.
Right.
And I'm going to stay on the journey and I'm going to ride it out. I'm going
Wow.
to do everything that he's placed inside of me. You know,
Right.
I'm going to fulfill it. I
Right.
trust and I believe that. And I know it's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
And how does that
Yeah.
feel?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Right.
You know, when I was younger, I dreamt about having a fashion boutique. And
Okay.
now today I partner with my niece.
Wow.
And I help her with Vogue Chic. I'm the foot model.
Okay. Okay.
And I help
Okay.
her select the merchandise, that our inventory.
Okay.
I help her select those items. And so we continue to grow in that venture. We continue to decide what we're going to do, where it's going to take us next. So I help her brand that. I talked to you, briefly, we talked about Shalina Raquel, the owner of Diary of Queen Esther. And at the time, I didn't know what God had for me. I just knew that I love fashion. And I
Right.
know, that I loved the merchandise and still do,
Right.
that she has. And so I was like, well, Lord, all she can do is say no.
Right. 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 Right.
So I was like, I like your stuff,
Right.
and if you ever need anybody to help you brand it, I would be honored to do so.
Right.
And look at me,
Right.
I
now you're there.
I'm not a professional, but you don't have to be a professional. That's the great thing about it.
Absolutely.
When God puts something down inside of
Absolutely.
you, he'll do the rest. You
Right.
just have to trust and believe
Favor
in
ain't
him.
fair. That's what I
Hey,
heard.
be obedient, right?
Right,
And if you do
right.
that,
Right.
he'll do the rest.
Right.
Not saying not to discredit those that are professionals,
Right.
in those careers and the things
Right.
that they do. I'm just saying for me,
Right.
it has been an experience and a
Absolutely.
pleasant one at that.
And that's why I think, and the point that I was getting at a second ago is like, even like for professional people, like people that are good with numbers.
Yeah.
You know, we'll
Yep.
sit down and talk ourselves.
Yeah.
We will rationalize ourselves out of obedience
We sure will.
because, well, what God is putting on my heart to
Mm-hmm.
do right now don't make sense with what's currently going on in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of stuff just.
Fear.
Right. Fear
Flesh.
or absolutely. Absolutely.
We allow those things to lead us. And,
Absolutely.
you know, and in some instances, hey, it may be the best thing. And then others, you know, it turns out. But I won't say that it's not the best thing because every situation, every person has been a lesson for me. It's been a season or a reason. And I've learned valuable things from that. So I'm thankful, you know.
Right.
I'm thankful.
Okay.
Yeah, even when I started Singles with Substance, that's where I met you years ago.
Right. Singles with substance. Let's talk about that.
Well,
Okay.
I don't say I started it. You know, there was, you know, Tracella. She and I started it together, and then we brought along Sonia. Yeah, and so, you know, that was an amazing ride.
It really was.
You know, and I think it helped me in so many different ways because I love event planning. Thankful to Kimberly Melson of Kimberlite Events. So I'm an event coordinator with her, but I think that experience taught me and prepared me, you know, for what I do today. And so those smaller events that she has, you know, she allows me to put those together. And it's just amazing. You know, it's been a wonderful journey, man.
It has.
For
Singles
real.
with substance.
I was going to skip on over that.
No. Since we brought it up, since it slipped out.
Yeah.
Singles with substance. What was the whole idea behind that?
So at the time, Tracella and I, Tracella was my hairstylist at the time. And I remember there was a meme that I saw on Facebook and it was like, singles with substance still exist.
Oh, yeah.
And prior to that, she and I had, you know, talked about, let's throw a party because in our age group, the mature adult, you know, if you don't actually go and hang out at clubs and, you know, if that's not what you enjoy, sometimes it's difficult to meet like-minded individuals who want the same things as you. And so we thought of it not as a dating group, but a place that like-minded singles could come, engage in great conversation, converse about what your experiences are. And so we started that. And, you know, then we would have quarterly events. We'd have the all-white party, the bonfire, you know, the ugly
Lots of
sweater
fun,
party.
people. Lots of fun,
we would
trust
even
me.
volunteer, you know, for different organizations. And it's, you know, it was awesome. And it still exists today. You know, of course, COVID put a halt on everything. So we haven't hosted any events in quite some time. But
single and social distancing.
Singles and social distance, but
That
I
might be a
have
thing.
two amazing young ladies, Treese and Monica, that help with it. And so we're excited about, you know, what we can do in the near future to bring Singles with Substance back to life. SWS.
Right. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was a member. I enjoyed it.
Yep.
I did a lot of the events. It was more than fun. So the dating scene, how did that? Did you gather like any insight, like working with single grown people? Did you see any tendencies? I remember, you know, a couple of events. I ain't gonna beat you to the gun, but you know.
Well, you were there. You were attended a lot of events. I think.
Attended a lot.
Yeah. It was interesting.
It was interesting. It really was interesting. But
interesting.
but you kind of wonder, like, oh, okay, like. You know, I think in some instances I was like, okay, this is why people are single.
People are single,
like because you come out and you're not social, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
And
I remember that being a big part. of
It was,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, but I think some of it is, you know, because of the experiences that they've been through. Some of them are, what do you call it? Is it an introvert?
Introvert,
right?
Or
extrovert.
what's the other word? Jaded.
Right.
That's the word.
Yes, and so
We
you
have to
know,
call it.
sometimes it's just a situation where.
Hey, caller, you on the air of the J.Gerrard show. Hello, caller. They hung up.
They hung up. Okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe they'll call us back.
They'll call
in.
back. Camera shy.
But to answer your
Call
question
me
about
now.
Yep, the dating scene back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just think people want certain things or they wanted them. And I think being able to articulate what it is that they wanted through the challenges, the hurt, the disappointments, you know, some of them felt like, I think I want to go, but I really don't know what to expect. And I don't know if I'm comfortable coming out of my shell around people that I don't know. You know what I mean?
Let me, and see, I was thinking of this as you were saying that. Like, do you think, because in my mindset is like, okay, people feel like they need to show up as the representative.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
And then what that make me think is, if you can't show up as your actual self, maybe your actual self still needs to heal. You feel what I'm saying? So, because why would you show up and say, well, I got to be like this.
Right, exactly.
And I'm out here socializing like this.
Right.
Under a false pretense.
Yeah.
I'm really under this. I'm still this person that's not even ready to be here.
I'm not ready to date.
Right.
And I think for me, I always tell people what you see is what you get.
Right.
There is no pretense. There's no hidden agenda.
Right.
I'm me.
Right.
And if you accept me for who I am, great.
Right.
If you decide that, you know what, I'm not the person that you want to get to know, whether it's in a working relationship or, you know, a friendship or what have you, I'm me.
Right.
You know, I think we all have some things about ourselves that we need to work on. But when you accept yourself for who you are,
absolutely.
You know, and work on being the best person that you can be, everything else will fall into place. And I think you always, in my opinion, you meet that representative a lot of, well, I won't say always, but you meet that person's representative a lot.
About 60?
I would say greater than
You're
60.
a finance lady. You know numbers.
I'd say maybe closer to 70, 75.
70%, you're going to always meet the representative.
Yeah, because, you know.
And that's sad, because just think about, I mean, we're all grown people. Why are we walking around pretending to be something
that we're not? I don't know. I think, you know, it's kind of like you have your guard up, right?
Right.
You know, you really don't know them. They don't know you.
Right.
And I think, you know, you get to a place where you decide, okay, am I comfortable? What do I know about this person?
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you just yourself,
but there's no crime in being you.
Don't make the conversation heavy. Just be you.
There's
you
no
know what
crime
I mean?
in being you.
Hey,
You can always show up and be you. Nobody else can do you.
If they like it, great. If they don't, oh well.
You are the best you ever, and that's the way I've always looked at it.
And you haven't lost anything by being yourself. But you lose a lot more when you're not yourself, because the person is seeing you for a person that you're not.
And even if it's just a temporary thing, you know, even you come into the set like that, eventually, you know, you're going to have to start peeling that back and let them know the truth.
Layers back.
You know, some people do it because they have ulterior motives. Some people do it because they just feel like, I'm not ready for them to. But then if you're not ready, then just wait.
I agree. But I also think sometimes you don't really know the things about yourself, or that you haven't fully healed until you're in the situation.
That's
and
true.
then when you get in certain situations or experiences, you realize, I got a lot of growing to do.
You know what I mean?
I got some more healing that I need to do for myself. And either the person is going to help you through that journey or they're not, you know, and it's okay, because sometimes you realize through certain journeys that I got to focus on me. There's some things I got to do for me before I can be ready for anybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that there are some things that in each life that person and only God can fix.
Absolutely.
And it's between them and God. Some of the things God will correct, and some of the things he put in your hand and say, listen, you know, you're going to have to make this decision.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to choose life or death.
Hey.
And sometimes that really is the way it is, you know.
It feels like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because there's this meme I used to see, and it says the one thing about going out, and it's like hit me in the face. It's like the one thing about going outside of God's will to get what you want is that you have to stay outside his will to keep it.
Ooh,
you get help. I saw that. I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm out here because it's something I want.
Right. My flesh wants it.
Exactly.
But it may not necessarily be the best thing.
It may not be the best thing for me. And I may know this in my spirit. But
I'm going to keep on doing it anyway.
I'm gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing that I think a lot of people, because even with us talking about relationships week after week after week, you still hear more people saying, okay, well, we have relationship issues. I got this, I got that. There's a lack of trust. And I think you can have so many relationship conversations.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, for me, myself, I got to the point where I said, okay, well, basically, you know, we're trying to refurbish this house, and every week we patching it up. Okay, so we finally got to the place where it was like, look, take it all the way off the foundation. Leave
Mm-hmm.
nothing but the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So what
And
is the
build from there.
foundation?
Yeah.
What are you built on? What do you believe?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me, and that's what I have to say. And I realize at that point, and this is a transition for me as well, that this may not be for everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you got to be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, because if you don't believe that you should live a spirit based life, or that you should have a place in your life where God is God in your life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything that I say may sound foolish to you.
That's true.
You're just of another mind, and you're of another, and I don't mind that.
It's hard
But
for you to get on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you don't have that
Absolutely.
spiritual foundation.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's
I
hard to
agree.
keep telling people, like, relationships don't get easier.
Whew.
And they're almost impossible without Christ. They're almost impossible without God. You got to
Yeah.
have authority
Yeah.
that's higher than your emotions, that's higher
Absolutely.
than your experience, that's higher than your trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
when we get in situations, that's the first thing that we revert to: our trauma, our experience,
Yeah.
or our ego.
Absolutely.
And we're going to answer out of one of those.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily
the best.
the best or the will of God. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be tough.
It can be very tough.
It really can.
So did you notice, and I know when we were doing Singles with Subs and Deck, it was a lot of different things. I think for me, because I had been married 15 years, totally off the dating scene. Like, so when I came back out, that was my experience.
Okay.
And a lot of it was like off the chain to me. I was like, wow, I didn't know it was like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
at first it's like, oh, okay, we got independent women running up,
Yeah.
stating their claims, sticking their flags out, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And at first it was like, oh, that's cute,
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody know what they want, and they
Uh-huh.
this and they that, and and that was cool. Now this is just me.
Okay.
This is just me.
Okay.
But after a while, it was like, okay, all right, sisters, no. Like, no, don't do it. Let us do that. Let the men. And then I started feeling old, because I was like, oh, it's like,
Okay.
well, no, these women are liberated. They know how to,
Yeah.
they
yeah.
make their money. They can
Right.
find and it's
Right.
like, trust me, I am a child of a very strong woman. I
Okay.
definitely get strong women in the strength
Sure.
of,
Sure.
but I think in the area of pursuing, and I don't know, what do you think about that? In the area of finding
I'm
a mate.
gonna speak for the ladies.
Okay, please do speak for the
a couple of
ladies.
minutes.
Okay.
I think that we find ourselves in a situation where we are independent, not necessarily because we want to be, and in some instances we've had to be independent. And I think in some cases that independence overpowers us. So when we do meet a man who wants to be the leader, in some instances we just don't know how to accept that, and we don't know if it's genuine. Okay, is it that you're putting your best foot forward now, and when you let your guard down, it's going to be a different situation, or can you accept me as I am? I am an independent woman now. A lot of us, we know how to step back and let you lead.
Okay.
But when you lead, is it going to be from a place where you're still going to respect me and I'm going to respect you? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Say that
In
again.
other words,
Okay.
you know why I'm, in other words, lead me, but lead me from a position of you being obedient.
Knowing.
Lead me from a position of strength, and make sure that all of your principles line up. I
Right.
can trust you. I'm going to follow you.
Right.
And in order for me to do that, I got to feel that security.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it hard to follow a man that's not following God?
I would think it
And
is.
I ain't just talking about, and listen,
I would think
I've
it's very
seen-
difficult to follow anybody, whether I think it's difficult to be in a relationship. That's just for me. And to have a partner who doesn't align with your values, your spirituality. I think it's a challenge, to be in a relationship with someone where you don't see those, where you don't have those things in common.
Right.
And I think sometimes men, if they don't have those things, they may meet a woman that can help them, and vice versa. The man can possibly help the woman get to that level. So, I think it goes both ways. But I think when you start talking about women, if I understand you correctly, sometimes you meet a woman and they just so independent. It's like, well, can I be a man? Like,
Right.
really, can I be a man?
Right.
And I think for some women, it's like, yeah, I
Right.
want you to be the man, but
Right.
also I don't want to lose my independence.
Right.
I don't want to lose who I am
Right.
because I'm going to follow you.
Right.
You understand what I'm
I
saying?
do understand that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for the woman that's in her independence,
Mm-hmm.
as far as her initiating situations, how do you feel about that? Like a woman said, "Oh, I'm just a nice guy. I'm gonna approach him and see what's up. I'm gonna ask him out."
I think everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
I think that some men are open to that and they find that attractive.
Mhm.
And I think other men feel like, okay, it makes her appear to be thirsty.
Mhm.
You know, it makes her appear to be like an attention seeker, if you
Mhm.
will.
Mhm.
For me, I don't do that.
Okay.
Because
I know plenty of women that's like, I don't mind asking no man. And in my
Yeah.
head, every one of them that say that are the ones that get on my nerves. It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know you ain't got no problem, but you the one that would just like really be on somebody's nerves. Because you know what I mean? And it's like they feel
Yeah.
like they got that skill. I'll let a man know that. And I don't have a problem
I
with
guess
that.
they say shoot your
Not
shot,
judging.
right?
Right, shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. I don't see nothing wrong with shooting your shot. Now, but for
Right.
me, I just believe, that, hey, every man finds a good woman. I don't think the woman finds the
I
man.
believe that, too.
So that's just my belief,
Right.
and I live by that. But some relationships are very successful with women who've approached men and, it all worked out. So it
Listen, I had somebody tell me in SWS.
Oh, Lord. Why we got to keep going back?
Listen, I got my face covered. Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah, I can't see you. I don't want to see you nowhere.
Oh, you don't want to see? Oh, you're talking about, yeah, I'm trying to, but listen, they told me, like, you need to understand you in a Shark Tank. And I was like, what? It's like a Shark Tank.
Meaning that there's a shortage.
Like, this is an aggressive environment. And you need to watch how you move, And that's really interesting. And then that's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't really used to, and I've had this, and I've said this a couple of times on the show. Like,
yeah.
I'm old school. I'm traditional.
Mm-hmm.
I like to pursue the woman. I don't need a woman. And, for the independent, secure women that's cool with doing that, I'm not here to judge you.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking on my personal preference. That I feel like as a man, that is something, and like you said, when the man finds a wife, so we got to be out here looking. I'm not expecting a woman to be looking for me.
I
And
understand.
then
I do understand.
if you out here looking for me, I'm wondering,
Are you looking for anybody?
right, what the hell are you looking for? Like, what? Like, you know what I mean?
Man, I feel you. I think, and there's a lot of men that feel that way, but then there are some men that find it very attractive, for a woman to approach them and let them know this is what I want. So it just depends on the person,
But see,
I don't know.
And see, I think that's the thing though.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think happens. Okay.
Okay.
I think we say, well, this is, and I'm just speaking for myself. This is my personal preference.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I'm gonna make a lot of brothers hate me, but let's do it. Okay. But I don't understand, brother, you know what I mean? And I'm talking to y'all. What level? I mean, what is that? What are you getting out of that? If you got some brothers out here on the line that's listening and can hear me now, if you want to speak to that, what is it that make you need or feel like the woman should approach you? I feel like that's weak. Like, bro, you ain't got no tools. You can't hunt. Like, you ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean? You want to put it on her.
He wants you
you
to
want Cena to run up and be the warrior princess.
I don't know. Hey.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, okay. This is Disco, everybody. Coming in.
I want to talk.
Yeah, come on in and talk. Okay. Yeah, but that's my whole thing. I want to understand that in the sense of, what part of us as men need that. You know what I mean? I remember, men, because, they had ladies' night at the club to get the ladies out. Okay, now we getting to the point where it's like you got to entice men to be interested in women. I don't get that.
You ready?
You're in a different dynamic.
You ready for my answer?
You know what I mean?
It's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
You ready for my
things
answer?
have changed.
You ready for my answer?
Go ahead, Disco.
I was that guy that waited for a woman. Because
Wow.
because I got tired of the BS.
Okay.
So I got tired of going up to you and telling you my information, giving you my number, and putting all my information out there for you to not even be interested after the first sentence.
Okay.
So it wasn't the fact that I thought I was this and I thought I was that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the wall was so big and the wall was so much up because you had those boss ladies, those independent women, the ones that ain't said they need no man. So like it was like a 80 to 20, 20 to 80, I mean, chance that you gonna get a phone call back. So what I used to do was my myth was if I got eye contact, then I approached them.
Right.
If I ain't get no eye contact, I let them come to me.
Right.
Wow.
And then I never got their numbers. You know what I'm saying? I gave them my numbers after a conversation.
Right.
But I was
Okay.
never the aggressor because I felt like a lot of women was tired because I felt like the 8 guys before me that tried to holler at the club
Right.
done
I
said
always felt
something
the same
stupid.
thing too.
Yeah.
Done said something
Yeah.
stupid to this young lady. So now I come.
Right.
She ain't gonna give me the time of day. So if she see me, and okay, I like him, then she gonna walk up to me like, "Thank you, Jesus." I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So mine was
Yeah.
more because I got tired of the
Right.
And I
But
think it's on both sides. You know, I
Yeah.
think men to a certain degree are tired of, the BS with women, and women are tired of the nonsense with men, But I just truly believe that when it's your time, you'll meet the right person.
Right.
You just have to have patience in every area of your life. And that's what I've learned. And, for me, I don't focus on that. I'm just
Right.
like, hey, I got other stuff I got to do. So
In that time, yeah. I think the realest thing
Yeah.
too, and this is what I thought about when you were saying what you were saying, Disco, is that, and I used to think the same thing, and not to throw any stray references out, but when I used to go to the ladies' clubs, being that we're in Atlanta, it's like stupid to come in and say the same thing. I used to say the same thing. I know everybody done looked at this girl and said the same thing. So I'm just gonna be me.
And
I know
there you
I know
go.
I haven't
There
been
you
in here
go.
today.
Right.
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
So the
right.
best thing I could be is
It's
authentically
yourself.
me. And guess what? If she like that, she actually really likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I
sometimes
agree.
they'll like
I
it
agree.
because you was the only fool bold enough
To
step
approach
out
them?
of- and you're a real person.
Yeah.
You know what my
You know
trick
what I
was
mean?
though? My
What was
trick
that?
was I just send them a drink
Mhm.
and then they even get up. Like I send them whatever they drinking, I tell
Uh-huh.
wait to give them a drink on me and I wouldn't even get up.
Wouldn't go for it.
I wouldn't even go over there. They just they'll look, the waitress say, my man
This
over
was
there.
in the- right,
No, back then the man over there with the curly hair.
right.
You know what I'm saying? He
Long time.
long time ago.
Right.
He sent you to drink and I just look at him and wave and I know they still eating. So in my mind I'm wanting them to get up
Right.
and say thank you or something and go from there.
Okay.
Right.
But I didn't do the drink thing and say, can I sit by you?
Right.
Especially
Yeah.
women when they having their girls night out. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be that guy to sit at the table when.
Right.
So that was just my
feel
little
it.
trick.
Okay.
Right.
Gave me a head start.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That, but
Just to kind of get your foot in the door a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
To see if she's
Yeah.
interested. You know what I'm saying?
I think is it blinking?
No, it's just me.
Oh. Okay.
I think too that it we've gotten to the point where it is game, and then once you get to the point where, because what I see and what I know is it's a very real issue because people are married and marriages are failing. People are in relationships and relationships are failing. And you can't just intelligently talk to these people and say, well, everybody that did this had no good intentions or this and this and this. And I think what it boiled down to me to something really deeper. It boiled down to me to people living outside of purpose, living outside of a life that I believe that that God ordained for them to live. And I was sharing with you earlier about, I hear someone say they use it now. They were saying that lives are broken. That a lot, these days, men and women in relationships, the
They're
whole
broken.
state of everything is broken. And my reflection is like, it's not necessarily broken. I think what's happening now is we're realizing we cannot continue to build on these facades and these little fake lives that we've,
That we had
erected
prior to COVID.
Absolutely. Like, see, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
brought people to a real place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who are you really? And then
Right.
it brings this whole mortality question because you could be here today and
And
be
go on
sick next
tomorrow.
week.
You
Right.
better live your best
You
life and
better
be happy
live
while
your
you're
best,
doing it.
live
Yeah.
your truth.
Yeah, and
And
be at
that's
peace
really
with it. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah, and I do agree. I think, the last year there have been so many relationships, like you said, that have failed. There have been some that are thriving as a result of it. Some people got to see one another in a different light because you
Right.
were with them
Right.
nonstop. So I, wish them the best
Right.
and just hope and pray that, through it all, you can have that unconditional love for one another. I think that's really what it's all about because
Yes.
when you have that unconditional love, you're able to see the truth for each person as to who you really are. And if you can do that and still weather the storm, I think it's a great thing. If you find yourself in a position where, you see the truth, and for whatever reason, it's just not working, then I think the best thing you can do is make a decision is if it's serving you and
Right.
is it bringing out the best in you, and if it's not, then the two parties have to decide what's going to be best.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I think that's very
Yep.
important. I do. I honestly do. I think it's important. I think this 2020 really made a lot of people examine a little closer. Like you said,
Absolutely. Every part of your life.
their spirituality really woke people up to that
Yep.
because I think
Yep.
you like mentally it was like I can't figure it out.
Right.
You was sitting in the house and it was like I can't really make plans of how to get out of this.
Exactly.
So
what
I
can
have to
do?
go within. Absolutely.
Yeah. What can I do? Hey, it's either gonna get better or it's gonna get worse, and I'm gonna actually remain in a place where this is serving me or it's not. And again, that's in every area of your life. But
Right.
only you can make that decision.
So how would you sum that? How would you sum? What is your story of 2020? And I'm asking that because I look at it and it's like, yeah, a lot of stuff went wrong,
Yeah.
but a lot of
Stuff
stuff
went
was
right.
birthed.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely. For me, I think it's follow your heart.
Okay.
Whatever it is that you want to do, don't let anybody tell you can't do it.
Right.
And make sure you align yourself with people that believe in you and bring out the best in you. And
Right.
most importantly, love you unconditionally. And I
Absolutely.
think if you have those things
Absolutely.
and you put God first in whatever it is that you decide to do,
Right.
it'll work.
Right.
It'll work.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
never too late.
Never
to
too
get birthed.
late. I'm a living
Never.
witness.
Absolutely.
I am a living
Absolutely.
witness. It is never too late to follow your dreams,
Absolutely.
to fulfill the purposes that God has placed inside of you, but only you can do that.
That's true. Because and I've even heard it like, oh man, all right, now you getting older.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, there ain't gonna be too
But
many
what does
people
that
on.
mean?
Right. I'm like, where do these naysayers come from? It's
Hey,
like,
hey.
and like, I mean,
Until
act
you
like if
close
you
your
wait, you
eyes.
have another birthday, ain't gonna be but 3
That's right.
possibilities out
That's
there
right.
for you. And it's
That's
like,
right.
what?
Yeah, the
Like, no, I don't
possibilities
live
are
in that world.
endless when you have God on your side.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So transitioning into the things that you got into the 2020.
Yeah.
Obviously, and as you were just sharing, that your faith was a big part of that. Being able to make that transition. Now that you are in something that you conceptualized,
Yes.
that was in your spirit, and you stepped forward,
Yeah.
and now you actually live in that reality.
Yes.
Explain the process. Was it just, I saw it in my spirit, I stepped in and it just blew up? Or was it some steps involved?
It was
there
a process, and it still is a
involved?
process.
Okay.
A friend of mine, her name is Stacy, and we were talking. We were having a conversation, and she was like, "Nicole, there's so many different things that you do well." And I said, "I never thought of it that way," And she said, "It's a whole experience." I said, "I never thought of it that way," and she said, "It's the Nicole Lynn experience." And so I thank her. If you're listening,
Okay.
Stacy, thank you for birthing that for
Okay,
me,
that's where
right?
the
That's
thing
where the
came from.
Nicole Lynn
Okay.
experience came
Okay.
from. It came from Stacy, and then my
Right.
daughter Lyric helped me create it.
Right.
And so
And
when
what
I
is that?
think about the Nicole Lynn experience, it encompasses a lot.
Okay.
So whether I'm planning an event, whether I'm styling someone for a birthday party or, an event that they're attending, or whether I'm helping you purchase real estate, helping you to sell your home, or helping you as an investor flip a property,
Amazon.
or hold on to it for rental income.
Right.
Regardless of what it is that you decide to do, it is an experience.
Right.
And I tell my clients all the time in every area of that,
Right.
if you trust me, I'm gonna get you to the finish line, and you're gonna look great throughout the process.
Right.
So
You're gonna look great throughout the process, right.
absolutely. So
That's awesome.
it's an experience, and I'm still learning.
Right.
As I go through it, I'm still amazed. It's like, wow, God, you did that. That's what's up. You did
And
that
I'm
for
gonna tell
me.
you what I really love about God, and this is what I love about the Father, is this: that He will allow His anointing to rest on your life. And He ain't called you, it ain't like, oh, well, you got to run away from your life
Yeah.
and sell fish plates down in the back of the church.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to change the way that you think, the way that you talk, the
Absolutely.
way that you move.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll still let you go in and out the doors
Yeah.
that you go in and out of and
Absolutely.
influence these environments that you're
Right.
already in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really believe a lot of times it's very strategically done by God.
I know it is.
And we're placed in places to be light.
I know it is. I truly believe that because, as a real estate professional, based on the experience and the knowledge that I've acquired throughout the years, when I am speaking with a client, whether they think they can't purchase a home, they feel that they aren't ready. There are so many different resources and tools that I'm thankful I have to guide them through the process.
Right.
And so for me, it's truly understanding that I'm in the driver's seat of that,
Right.
and I can help them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I love being that person that helps that dream for them become a reality. It's really cool. It is.
And then just to feel, I think for me, to feel God's presence on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because once you really realize that
Yeah.
He can bring any situation to pass.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
can flood the people. He can decide, you know what, I'm going to lead these people towards you. You know what I mean? Because He's ultimately in
Listen.
charge. And it's
a powerful thing.
it really
I mean,
is. There's nothing like being in His will.
It's a powerful thing. I have, friends of mine that say, "Well, how you doing so well?" Like,
Right.
I don't know of anyone who started recently in a
Right.
career and is thriving,
Right.
the way that you do. And I tell them all the time, I owe it all to God.
In a pandemic year.
In a
What are you
pandemic.
doing?
And I tell you what, Valen Cole Lyons, if she's listening, is
okay.
my broker. And at the time when I met her, I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
All I know was that I met her through a mutual friend. We were out, socializing back then. This was probably, gosh, I want to say maybe it was like, I don't know, 2014. And again, I didn't know what God had in store for me.
Right.
Do you hear me?
Right.
I didn't know that.
Right.
And so she and I became friends on social media, and I started to follow her. And I was just amazed at the powerhouse that she is.
Right.
And so I started stalking her.
Okay. Right.
I started stalking
but you
her.
had those people,
Yes,
I
I
get
did.
that.
I did.
Yeah.
So I slid in her DM, as
Right.
y'all would say.
Like,
I was like, how you doing?
Right.
So listen, I'm watching you and I'm amazed, and
Right.
I'm thinking about, getting my real estate license and her team. When I think about Deidre Carter, I think about Charlize, those women, Nisha, were instrumental in helping me to complete that process. They gave me valuable advice that allowed me to pass the test on the first try.
Oh, wow.
And, first and foremost, I owe it to God. And secondly, I'm so thankful
Right.
to Ballin and her team,
Right.
well, our team, because it's a powerhouse, man.
Oh, wow.
It is a powerhouse of African-American females and men that are extremely professional, that can help you throughout that journey. So because of my experience, I'm able to maneuver in ways that some agents, they really don't know how to do that.
Right.
I have a strong finance background.
Okay.
And as a result of
So
that
you've
and
been aimed
my
in this
negotiation skills,
Okay. I'm strong, right?
absolutely,
All right.
I'm able to secure those
That's
contracts.
the point of there, y'all.
Hey,
You gotta get you a
man.
negotiator.
You need a negotiator. I'm
Okay.
telling you, some people feel like they can sell their own real estate. Man,
Right.
you can't.
Right.
You can.
Right. You
but
can, but you
it's
losing.
not going to turn out the way that you want it to.
I got somebody said, Mem James, nice. She has something to say. And she says knowledgeable. And then Lyric Gordon says,
my baby.
"That's my mama." Go, ma.
Shout out to my baby for these stackable bracelets, Lyric and Company ladies. Make
So
sure
whenever
you guys
I tell you
catch
what,
her.
whenever your daughter want to come and talk about her product, tell her come on to the
I
show.
would. I'm sure she would
Absolutely.
love to do that.
Absolutely.
I have no doubt that she would love that.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you were saying.
So we were talking about, the journey, right?
Okay.
And we were talking about how I ended up where I am today. And I was just sharing with you that the people who helped me along the way, like I was telling you, I reconnected with a girlfriend of mine, Kimberly Melson, who owns Kimberlite Events. And when I was doing the part, it's all a process. It's
Right.
been a journey for me. I didn't know that when we started Singles with Substance, SWS, the party planning, hear me now,
Right.
that I was doing then would put me in a position for that to become a source of income for
So
me.
wait, so the party planning came after SWS?
Yes.
You couldn't tell. Everything I
Yes.
went to was laid out. I mean, grown folk style, laid out.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah. So
okay.
Kim and I have known each other, man. We go way back.
Okay.
If you're looking for a beautiful place to have an event, it's in Douglasville. It
Okay.
is amazing. It's Kimberlite Events, and like I was telling you, Kim is an event planner. She does. So it's a kind of twofold. The building is a place where you can have your event.
Okay.
And then Kimberly does the weddings, and she's amazing at
Okay.
it. And so when someone comes in, I like doing theme parties.
Okay.
So if someone is interested
The
in a
Gatsby
theme
party.
part, yes,
Yeah.
Great Gatsby,
Yeah.
the bonfire, things like that.
Right,
Like
right.
I love doing those types of
Okay.
events, and I just keep getting better and better by the grace of God. And so when I reconnected with Kim, she says, "Well, hey, look, I do the big stuff. Like she don't like theme parties.
Right.
That's where I come in.
Right,
at.
right, right.
Or if it's a smaller wedding,
Oh, that's awesome.
and her schedule is full, then
Right.
she'll allow me to do it. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. That's why I say, man, hey, he just keeps on blessing me.
Wow. So how do you feel? Do you feel like, okay, I got all these things that I am?
Yeah,
Because I know like this past year, okay, I stepped into some new things myself and started doing things.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I hit that wall like, okay, wait a minute. I got to go to work over here.
Right,
But I
right.
still got to see about this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm carrying this baby. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it can all get, a lot of times you can have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you fall in those places like, okay, Lord, I'm
What am I
being
gonna do?
faithful and
Right.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But
I'm just overwhelmed.
right.
Right.
And it's like
Yeah.
3 different pots on here. I don't know what you doing.
Yeah.
But I know
That's what I
all of
say all
this
the
because it's
time.
like he got a little seasoning in all the pots.
That's what I say all the time.
Right.
I think about my niece, Tiffany Jackson, who started Vogue Chic. And, one day we were having a conversation and she was overwhelmed. She was overwhelmed. And so we started talking and she was like, Auntie, I need your help. And so that's how I became a part of it. And so I stepped into that arena. And every time I get overwhelmed, it's like he's put me in a position to be with someone that helps me
Right.
in that particular journey.
Right.
I have Valen and the team that helps me with my real estate.
Right.
I have Tiffany that helps me with Vogue Chic.
Right.
I have Kim that helps me with the event planning.
Right.
So what I'm saying is when you surround yourself with the right people, it may be a little bit overwhelming at that moment, but they'll help you. They'll help you to get through it.
Right.
And so that has been my saving grace.
Wow.
And I've learned so much, from each of them. And I'm just so extremely thankful that I get to do the things that I love with the people that inspire me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had somebody say, well, how many things you want to do? Well, the book says I can do
I can
all
do all
things.
things.
Right. I can do them all. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that's beautiful though, because it's
Yeah.
just so many different things. And then it's like, for each of them to be an expression of you, it's not like I'm going to work and I'm doing something that I absolutely hate to do.
Right.
I can
right.
be, excited about going in. I
Yes.
can absolutely be myself.
Yes.
This is me living out loud.
It
feels
amazing.
great. This
it feels
is why.
great.
Right.
It really does. I've even had, the pleasure of partnering with a couple of my high school classmates. Amari Harvard and I are doing some projects. He's a real estate investor.
Okay.
Stephanie Horn and Gerald Hinton and I just closed on a transaction. So it's just been rewarding in so many, so many different ways because people that, I have that I've been friends with or, colleagues of mine that I've worked with on so many different levels. Now we're able to come together,
Right.
and it is phenomenal.
Right.
It really is.
And you know what? I think too, Nicole, for me, it has been, and still being a work in the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, I think the fulfilling thing to the thing that's going to be most fulfilling for me
Yeah.
is to be able to say that God did it.
Oh,
and to know,
he gets all the
you know what I
glory.
mean?
Oh man.
Right,
Let me
because
tell you
I've been
something.
there. I've done it before now.
Yeah,
I can do it.
Yeah,
But I don't
I
wanna do
messed
it.
it up.
Right,
Let me
I'm
put
gonna-
it that way.
I
But
am
when I
definitely
listen to
gonna-
him, you know what I
Exactly.
mean, and allow the
Exactly.
people that he's placed, and I truly
Absolutely.
believe that he's placed these people
Absolutely.
in my life
Right.
for a reason.
Right.
And so when I think about that, and I rely on him, I'm obedient. And if I feel something in my spirit isn't right, I back away.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I listen more to him than to my flesh and to myself because I mess it up.
Right.
But when I listen to him, somehow
Absolutely.
it turns out all right.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
sometimes the spirit reveals things that you may not know.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, I don't know why. And then down the road, it's like, I knew I shouldn't have.
I
you
shouldn't
know.
have did that.
Yeah, well, that's why I was in your spirit
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
you know?
yeah. But sometimes those are the lessons that we need, right? You know, those are the lessons.
Right.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think that's important, but I think too, and the reason I wanted to bring you on is because, and we had never really sat down and had a whole like religious conversation or conversation.
Right. Right.
But I knew, and this is just what I knew of you. I said, okay, she's a very infectious person.
Wow. Thank you.
Always a lady.
Thank you.
Always with grace and just a whole lot of know-how. So it's very interesting to sit and have a conversation and to hear you say that you were actually moving into things and stepping into things through faith.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of like what I like to talk about because I like to encourage people.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of people that looked at, you know, finished and you know, products and say,
Yeah.
well, you know, I could never do that and this
Right.
and that.
Right.
But you know, to sit down and have this conversation and to show people, hey, it was not always that. And it was a process of becoming for me. I was not
Right.
always this person.
Yeah.
And and I think the interesting thing is, more than anything is, and I've already said this to her, so I won't look that way. When you meet these people a lot of time,
Yeah.
and you say to them like, "Oh, do you realize like you're this person?" And you know, like they never really know. Like they
Yeah.
never really know. And I had someone tell me, not to toot my own horn, but a bugle. You know, James, you know, and like I said before, I had a woman approach me at the shop and she
Okay.
wanted to say something to me. And she started out like this. She said, James, I want to ask you something. You know, I know you're a man of God.
Yeah.
And I stopped her. And I said, who told you that? Like, who told you that?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I come from a place where religion, I got people a certain kind of way. So when she
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
you're a man of God, because I'm not walking around the shop, you know, Bible thumping.
Toting
I'm
your
not
Bible.
even, we don't even
Yeah.
listen. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm still working on getting back into gospel music. Even
Yeah.
with all this conversation,
Right.
I
right.
don't listen to much gospel music. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
pray, and I
Yeah.
know that's, you know, well, how do you worship? But, you know, that's a different
It's
show.
your journey.
Right, it's my journey, right. But I'm not that person.
Yeah,
So for
yeah.
someone to be able to look
Yeah.
and say, hey, this is what I identify with
Wow,
in you.
wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that is one of the
yeah.
things that I say. And I never knew what your faith was or what your
Yeah,
walk was with
right,
God or never looked to
right.
judge it.
Right.
But
right,
I
right.
think that when you find the real children of God, like the Bible says, my sheep know my voice and the stranger they won't follow.
Wow.
You know, as a spiritual person, I love running into brothers and sisters. And this is why I felt it was a
Yeah.
natural kindred. Like, this is
Yeah.
a kindred spirit. I know,
Yeah.
like, I can talk to her. And I mean, we never had a conversation.
Right.
But just the perception of, I see that this is a person that's in God's hand.
Yeah.
This is a person
yeah.
who's been, and it's funny because my brother comes on, Elijah. He's not with us. We normally do the locker room.
Okay.
Where we talk about men issues.
Okay.
And it gets real, you know.
Gets heated.
It gets heated. It gets heated,
Okay.
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes with the men in the locker room, you know, the guys will come in and they try to, you know, say the stuff that you're going to say at the barbershop.
Okay.
I work at the barbershop. You're not finna come in here and say that. Like,
Okay,
you know, that's the
okay.
stuff we say when we just being loud and, you know,
Right,
everybody want to
right.
hang their jersey on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we really talk about truth, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It gets loud. And that's
Yeah,
what I was
it gets
telling
deep.
people. Right.
Yeah.
Men dealing with trauma is not a bunch of tears and hugs.
Wow.
You know, it's loud. It's full
yeah.
of ego. Is you ain't gonna tell me how to, you know what I mean?
Y'all need to calm that down a little bit. I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
absolutely. I mean, we really do. We really do. But you know what?
I said y'all
She
need to
said we
calm
need
that
to calm
down a
it
little bit.
I
Hold
mean,
on.
we really do.
What you mean by calm it down?
Well, you know, I probably just started something. I just
No,
put my
no.
foot in my mouth.
I mean, we want to.
Listen,
We
I
want
have
to
a
know
really,
when you say calm it down. What you mean?
well, let me say this. I have a really, really good friend that I went to high school with. His name
Okay.
is Sean.
All
And,
right.
you know, we always joke and kid with one another and be like, man, just relax, you know, like just calm it down a little bit. So what I mean by that is I think sometimes, and this is just my perception, I think sometimes men feel like they have to have that ego,
much,
right? You know, they have to
Yeah,
be,
that's what I was
they
saying.
have to be, and I'm just telling you
Right.
from my experience, they
Okay.
have to be this macho
Strong.
type, right? And sometimes it's a challenge for you to reveal your feelings, right? You don't know.
Vulnerabilities.
Yes, right. And
Yeah.
and it could be things that you've experienced in the past. I
Right.
guess what I'm saying is sometimes you don't know when to be vulnerable,
Right.
and you feel like you have to have that guard up. Often, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes that can be a problem.
It is because you never really get to deal with the problem.
Yeah,
You deal with the
yeah,
ego, and it was
yeah.
like,
You know me. I fight you and cry the next day. Like
Now,
right.
see, I'm an emotional creature. I know that
Right.
about myself. I'm a
Right.
Pisces,
Right.
and you know, sometimes
See,
we
I'm
wear
Pisces
we wear our
too, but I don't-
feelings. We wear our feelings on our shoulders.
Right.
I'm a Libra, so I'm
It's just a-
I'm
if I see
unbalanced.
it
Oh,
coming, I'm
Lord.
gonna pray that it don't go
She
there.
said,
Hey,
she said, "Oh Lord," when I said I'm a
Oh,
Libra. I'm a
Lord,
Libra.
Libra.
I'm
Right.
all over the place.
I'm just kidding. But you know, I mean, that's just, you know, I just,
Right.
you know, I feel like, but men are different. So of course, naturally, being emotional is not something that
Right.
you know
Okay.
we use to you use to describe yourself.
Right.
I'm just saying that I think it would be nice for men to express their feelings.
So,
a
Miss
little
Miss
more,
Miss
is
Nicole,
what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
think a lot of women out there got egos as well?
I didn't say that.
Okay. All right.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Come on, Jay.
Right.
I didn't
Right.
say that. I
Right.
did not say that.
You do get a lot of that too.
I'm sure.
You do get a
I'm
lot of
sure.
that too.
I think both men and women have to not have to, but I think that it would behoove us to remain humble
Right.
and not allow the egos to come to the forefront. I posted something the other day that said something like, you know, when God started blessing you, don't let that ego get in the way. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like don't
right.
let
It
that
happens a lot, yeah.
ego start to, you know,
Right.
become the precedence over your life instead of understanding that he's the one that gave you these things. He's the one that brought you through. And I think sometimes, you know, we get beside ourselves and we lose that spirit of being humble.
Right.
Yeah.
I think too,
yeah.
and this is another thing we touched on in the locker room, and I said it a little earlier tonight, that the two things that I think matter most is that you have knowledge of God and knowledge of self.
Wow.
Because if you
Yeah.
can know God, but then if you don't know yourself, as soon as He start blessing you, you're gonna think it's you.
Huh.
Your ego gonna
Come
say,
on
"Look
now.
what I got." You see what I mean?
Yeah. Instead of
right.
yeah.
So that's what happened with a lot of
yeah,
us.
absolutely.
Now, when you know
Yeah.
yourself,
right.
like
right,
me,
right.
yeah, I know I can build a lot of stuff, but it's all
Yeah.
gonna crash. I will wreck it
Yeah.
all. I will tear it
Yeah.
all up.
I'll tear it
I'm
all
very
up.
creative.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
But if it's not in His will, it's gonna crash. I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able to sustain it.
Yeah, you know, and that's my prayer all the time is
Mhm.
that, you know, I want people to I want to be able to draw others closer to him, and I want people to be able to see him in me. Right?
Right.
And I feel like as long as I keep him at the forefront of everything that I'm doing,
Right.
I can't do anything but remain humble because I know who my help comes from.
can't
You know what
go
I mean?
wrong.
You
And it's
can't go
almost
wrong,
like,
man.
It's almost like listen.
I'm so not deserving of what he gives to me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But when
Listen.
I think about all he's done for me,
Right. Just wake
Man.
up and live your life. And
Right.
I'm gonna bless your
I'm gonna
life.
do the rest. Yeah,
I'm gonna bless
man.
your life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Right. And that's really what it
Yeah,
is. I know I
yeah,
had you have periods in your life where, you know, that can be kind of evident.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, I got to a place where it was like, okay, well, religion. Okay, well, what can I do to
Yeah.
earn this, God?
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
being so good to me, I need to do something. You know what I
Right,
mean? And it was
right.
like I would wake up and I would, get down and I would beat the Bible and read the Bible, and then I would pray the same prayers, and I would do
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
all these different things. And these are to people of faith. Until one day I got down and I just heard in my spirit, be quiet, just shut up.
Wow.
Like, are you coming for me, or are you coming to bring all of these things that you think I'm looking for? I'm looking for you.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that was
wow,
that was
wow,
the
wow,
that was the
wow.
whole direction of it. It was like
Yeah.
we feel like, oh well, let me come, and you know what I mean. And the whole thing was getting up and put myself in the place.
Yeah.
But I came with everything, okay? I came with all my busy stuff, okay? Instead of just making myself available for God and just laying before him, okay?
Wow.
Well, I'm going to come with all my rituals that I know that conjure up your spirit, you know? So here we go. You know what I mean? And then I'm laying there like, I ain't feeling nothing.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Yeah.
This is your carnal nature trying to conjure God,
Wow.
you know? And
just be you and let me
Just
do
be
the
you.
rest.
Let me
Yeah.
do the rest.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
and
I have
we really make it complicated.
we do make it complicated. I have
Yeah.
a really good friend of mine, Ada Gardner, who has been so instrumental in my life and has really blessed me in so many different ways with just the conversations we've had. She's a life coach, a certified life coach. And some of the things that we talk about, you hit on the nail, you know. Just knowing that you ain't got to do all that, you know, like just be yourself
Right.
and come before him as you are,
As you
and
are.
he will do the rest.
Right.
And I think sometimes we get so caught up in,
Right.
you know, well, we got to be this way when we come to
Right.
God, or we got to be this way when we
Right.
come to him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Whoever
Right.
your higher being is, you know, he accepts you as you are,
Right.
and he'll do the rest. And
Right.
I think we get so caught up in that we don't understand. Be quiet and just
Exactly.
listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 And then
yeah.
another thing too that's freeing about that is if you can be you before God, who the hell are these people?
Whoa.
And that's what I woke up to.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I got to be me in front of God. Like,
Yeah.
he gets to see it. I'm having
The
this
naked truth.
The naked truth, God. I know I just prayed, but this thought that's on my mind, I'm pursuing it.
Right.
I just talked to you,
Yeah.
but I'm finna get in my car and I'm pursuing this thought.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
and I'm gonna do it.
And you know,
and I'm
I
telling
always-
you,
well, you know, I journal. And so a lot of times I write in my journal and say, okay, Lord, this is a moment of transparency. I'm gonna
Okay.
be transparent with you for a minute. This
Right.
is what I'm thinking, right.
Right.
And then when I write it down, I have a tendency to look at it differently. You know, and then I can break it apart, right? And then I can think about it before
Right.
I actually do it.
right,
That's what I have learned.
right.
I'm going to think about it. I'm not going to act upon it, because
Right.
sometimes those emotions and those feelings,
They'll change and they'll
man, they
pass.
can get you in trouble.
They can. They can. They can.
They can get you in trouble.
You get to moving when they
Ooh,
get to
my-
moving.
what?
You will. Yeah.
You better sit still for a second and pray about that
right.
thing.
Let
before
me
you
see
do
if it's gonna
anything. 'Cause
pass.
Listen,
Right.
you'll make in
That's
a
true.
moment of haste, you'll make a very bad
That
decision.
is
Yeah,
so absolutely
yeah,
true.
yeah,
And especially
yeah.
when it's the same a familiar mistake. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
yes,
If it's
yes.
one that you've made before.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know,
It's that saying, hey, if you want something different, you got to do something different.
you got to do something different. And there's no shortcuts to this.
No.
There's no shortcuts.
no,
And
no.
the thing about it is, different at different points in your life,
He knows what that is. Okay.
at different points in your life, from different perspectives, no matter where you are in your life, you know, to know that if I can come to God correct, if I can come before God correct,
Yeah.
if I can honestly acknowledge him, allow him to direct my path. And this is just, and for me, and tonight, this is the whole thing I want to get across is that whatever your spiritual practice is, whatever you believe, okay, it should ground you. You know, I feel like it should ground you. Mine just happened to be the word of God.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I believe in God and his son, Jesus Christ. So that is where I go for my identity. That is where I go for my what I can do and my who I am and, you know, all of that. According to the word of God. You know,
Daughter said thirsty 30, Ma.
Thirsty 30. What is that?
Lyric Gordon said thirsty 30, Ma. I guess you know what that meant.
Why
don't you call in, Miss Lyric? Why don't you call in at,
on that?
678-638-6626 and explain that. Lyric.
Mama
Thirsty 30.
didn't know.
Mama said she don't know what that means, Lyric.
I'm
Right.
sure she probably told me,
They
and
text it to her.
I've forgotten. I'm just gonna keep it real.
right. Like, I don't even know. No
Right
more.
there, yeah.
But to have that foundation and to go from there, to really trust that as a foundation.
That's her.
Is that her? Did she call in?
I'm sure it is. Oh man. Well, maybe she'll put it back in the
Okay.
chat.
Yeah, but to have a
Thirsty
foundation
30.
that's rooted in God
Yeah.
is like one of the most important things.
Yes.
And then the second thing is to really know yourself and be honest with yourself.
Yes.
And then you can
Yeah.
have that, your honesty with yourself, you know, And then that relationship with God, can you be honest
Yes,
with him?
absolutely. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's her. That's my daughter.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Lyric Gordon.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
What is Thirsty 30?
She got her TV in the background.
Okay, remember we talked about it, and I was telling you that I do it.
Turn your TV
And you
down,
just
Lyric.
pretty much, it's like 2
Miss Gordon, turn your TV down and talk a little louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's pretty much you keep prayers, 10 minutes of worship,
Okay.
and 10
I
minutes
remember now.
of, I think what's the last 10 minutes?
I remember us having that conversation, but I don't remember all of the components.
And it's Thirsty 30?
Thirsty 30. You said 10 minutes. So thirsty 30 got to be
Yes,
30
it's
minutes,
called
right?
Thirsty
So it's
30.
three
I put it
10
up
minutes.
on social media.
Yeah, it's 3 10 minutes, right? It's 10 minutes of praise and worship.
Yeah, it's 3 increments.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are the other two? If you think of it, let us know.
10 minutes of prayer, 10 minutes of scripture, and 10 minutes of worship.
Yeah. Okay. 10
Okay.
minutes of praise, 10 minutes of scripture, and 10 minutes of worship.
Thirsty 30.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody at 30 years old was
I
thirsty
thought
for
so
something.
too,
When
but I
you
did
say
not remember.
thirsty,
I
I was
remember
saying-
us
I was thinking
having
about
that
somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
thirsty for the word, thirsty
Okay.
for the
Right.
praise,
The good
thirsty
thirsty.
for the scripture.
Right.
Right.
I'm thinking about
right,
I thirsty.
right.
I'm
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I
thinking
was.
about some
Until
old
she
cat.
reminded
Right.
me.
Yeah,
I'm
thirsty
thinking
30.
some old cat.
Trying to talk
somewhere.
to young girl.
Yeah, yeah, being
Right, right,
stuff they
right.
shouldn't be doing.
Well, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. That was
Lyric. That was
right.
very, very
Right.
powerful.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, girl. Love
Right.
you.
But it's important to
Bye.
have.
Love you too.
Thanks for calling, Lyric. It's important, like what she was just saying too. I think for some people, because a lot of people too, and this was something that happened this year in 2020, when, and it's amazing how many people decided to get in God's will once the churches was closed.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we ain't gonna say nothing. How many people went in their spirit
Yeah.
and became obedient to what was in their spirit in the same year that the church was
Wow.
closed? Just really interesting fact. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
yeah.
really just was like
Yeah.
in the moment then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 2020,
Mm-hmm.
when the church closed down
Uh-huh.
and you were left at home and people had to, you know, okay, people were reassessing relationships, people were
Right.
reassessing marriage. And I said, shared this on the show before. I was talking to a cop over here in Smyrna.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, man, we get more domestic calls now. This was like when we were
Oh, wow.
quarantined, when people were in the house.
Okay.
And he was like, it's the citizens. Like, it's the
Wow.
people. He was like, the calls is not because of anything going on the street.
Yeah.
We're going home and everything is domestics. So I honestly believe like there were definite shakeups
Mm-hmm.
in spiritual realms. And that's why I say like a lot of things, a lot of these facades that we had built and called our lives,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I believe God shook those things
Oh, yes.
and allowed
yes.
us to, you know, to see that, you can't build on sand. You can build on sand, but it will fall.
Wow.
You know, and it makes you really,
Wow.
it makes you really examine the foundation. And this
Yeah.
is what I'm saying to an audience, that continue to come back every week and want to talk about relationships. You want to talk about, because sometimes we talking and we have a finance person here tonight. Okay. And I always say, you can get your money right. Definitely get the bag, but that is not the bottom line. That ain't, that's not going to equal a successful marriage.
You can have all the money in the world. Let me
absolutely.
tell you something. And if you're coming home every night and you're by yourself and you're lonely,
Right.
the money doesn't mean anything.
It don't mean
right?
anything.
So I think there has to be a balance, and you have to have. You don't have to, but I truly believe that all of us, we're created to be with someone.
Right.
And I think, some people have gotten to a place where they are led by the money. And it's unfortunate,
Right.
because at the end of the day, that's great. I think it's very important to be financially secure and financially
Absolutely.
independent and be responsible. I think all of those things are
Because they say
really, really
finance laid
important.
waste to a lot of marriages. That's what I heard. Like nothing breaks a marriage like finances.
I think it can. I definitely think it
Right.
can. I think, when your finances are not in order, if you mismanage money, I think it can cause a lot of issues because
Right.
when your money ain't, hey, when your money funny,
Right.
listen,
Right. Ain't no honey if it ain't no money.
hey, it
Right.
can cause all kind of problems. But I think that if your foundation, to
Right.
your point, is strong
Absolutely.
enough, then you can get through it. And I think that if
Absolutely.
you have a partner
The
who
foundation is not optional.
it's
It's
not
a must.
optional. And I think
Right.
that if you have a partner or you have a spouse that may be stronger in one area where you're weak, right?
Right.
I think that if you're able to work together to make it stronger and to strengthen it, where they're not beating you over the head,
Right.
because that's not your strong suit. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
But
Right.
lifting you up instead of tearing
Absolutely.
you down.
Or hey, babe, let me take this.
Yeah,
I'll get
look,
this
you
part.
ain't
You get
good with that.
Right. Exactly.
we
Right.
yeah, you don't need to handle the money because that ain't your
Right.
strong suit.
Right.
You understand? But I'm gonna help you get there.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
and
help
have
you.
the type of trust where you can say, well, you know what? Okay.
Yes.
You know what I
yes,
mean? And
yes,
that's
yes.
another thing about knowing yourself
Yep.
and not getting caught up. Because if
Yeah.
I'm stuck and I feel like it's all about me,
Yeah.
when you say something to me like that in a relationship, how you gonna tell me about the money? No,
Right.
damn well I'm messing up the checkbook. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's not about the ego.
Right.
It's not ego all the time.
Right,
And it's not,
right,
you know what I mean? And really knowing yourself is knowing that you were designed by God.
Absolutely.
You know, and you were designed for his purpose.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And a lot of the things that we experience are to shape us. I had my brother come down. I was telling you about him, Elijah.
Uh-huh.
And this is one thing I always say to him. I was like, the Bible talks about us being clay and God being the master craftsman.
Right.
We
molds us
get
and
to the
he
point,
shapes
he
us.
molds us, but
Yeah.
we get to a point where we feel like he done made a pot out of me. I'm a pot. And then when he take that pot and break it,
Man.
we all messed up.
Wow.
Because we forget that we are clay. We forget that we the clay.
Yeah.
And guess what? I made you a pot or a bowl
Right.
for the first 20 years of your life. But guess what? Now you're going to be a pot. So we got to break the bowl and start over.
All over.
Right.
I'm a living witness. I've been there.
It happens.
It happens.
It
Life
happens.
has, hey man, I've been at some low points,
Right.
where I've had to start all the way over.
Right.
You know,
Nobody
and-
believes this, though. You know that, right? Nobody believes this.
Wow. I mean,
This woman has lived a flawless life.
yeah, right.
Really.
Yeah, listen.
Just absolute
I
with no struggle at all. Like just
do. I've had them,
Right.
but through it all, I'm so thankful.
Right.
Because I've had the highs and the lows. I've, been the person where I made the six figures, and then I've been the person where I was like, okay, Lord, what you gonna,
Right, right.
how I'm gonna make it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I've been there.
Right. Listen, I
you
don't
know,
have to
it-
swipe the Target card
What?
for dinner.
Man,
okay?
let me tell you something.
Listen.
I've been there.
Okay.
I've been the person that didn't know how to manage my finances, but
Oh.
now,
Right.
you know what I mean?
And see,
I'm the
Right.
person that
Right.
can tell you a lot,
Won't he do
but
it?
because
Won't he
won't
do
he,
it?
will he, won't
Right.
he? But because of those trials,
Right.
and the tribulations and the things that
Absolutely.
I've gone through and over the years, learning that money is, I won't say it's everything because
Right.
it's not, but understanding how
Absolutely.
to manage it properly is key.
Right.
And whether you decide that you're going to be an entrepreneur or you have a 9-to-5 job, or you're going to have multiple streams of income, which by the way I think is really important. If
Okay.
you don't know how to manage it, right,
Okay.
and if you don't know how to put yourself in a situation where you're financially secure, work on that.
Right.
And I'll tell you something else, work on yourself. Like
Right.
you said, go to counseling if you have to.
Right.
That's really important. I think people feel like, oh, I don't want to go to counseling because I don't want anybody to feel like I need help.
Right.
I don't want anybody to feel like I don't have control
Right.
over myself.
Right. Right. Right.
Well, I feel like for me, anyway, just for me, I think that sometimes a person who specializes in that area can help
help
you.
you. Right.
That's just me, because sometimes you may not understand the coping mechanisms that you need to deal with certain things in your life.
That's true.
An outsider who specializes in that can offer you different ways to handle situations,
Right.
that will help you become a better individual. Because sometimes if you don't know how to handle certain situations and you don't have the resources, you don't know the techniques to use, you don't really know what you need to do. It can even be, it may not be a counselor, it might be a life coach.
Right.
It just may be someone that has experienced something, or learned a different technique that can help you along the way. And it's nothing wrong, in my opinion, it's nothing wrong with having someone who may have a better understanding of situations and how those things work that can help you. I don't think it's anything wrong with it.
Right.
That's
It's
just
always
me.
good. It's always good to seek advice. I think if you don't,
If
feel
you don't
like you
know,
have all the answers,
hey,
you should definitely seek.
and we don't have all the answers, by the way.
But see, that's a new thing.
We
I
don't.
think, in the black
Now,
community.
we think
as a
we
whole.
do, but we
think
don't.
do, but we don't.
We don't.
We don't. And to think you do is egotistical. It really is.
But Disco
'Cause
gonna
none
tell
of us
us.
really do.
Right.
He know what I want to say. I'm not gonna do it out of respect for you. I agree with you. I agree with you somewhat.
Okay.
I'm just the kind of guy that I get my advice from people that know me genuinely.
Okay.
Not
And I agree with you on that.
Like not
Yes.
nobody that read a book, not nobody that went to
Yeah,
school,
yeah.
somebody that know me in and out, that
Okay.
know my
Right.
character,
I got you.
Right.
and I see how they living.
Right.
Right.
So that those people, yeah, because they'll tell you I'm very headstrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes somebody that, like, he's known me 20 years, and
Mm-hmm.
he can say, "Disco, look here," and I listen.
Yeah, so if I understand you correctly, I'm not above accepting advice from someone,
Yeah.
but it needs to be someone
Has to
that
be
I
somebody know
trust,
me, that know me
right?
and knows
that
me.
I
Right.
trust,
Absolutely.
and that I feel has my best interest at heart, and that's okay as
Correct.
well. Whatever
Correct.
works for you,
Correct.
because sometimes, like you say, you may not be as open to speaking with someone who is just giving you information that they may have learned, but they don't know nothing about
And
you.
I like them raw.
I get it.
I like the
I
ones that
get
gonna
it.
talk to me like I need to be taught, not
I
tell
get
me
it.
what I want to hear. Gonna tell me, look, D,
right,
you
right.
tripping, man.
This what you need
tripping,
to hear, and you
Right.
want something different. I
And-
get it. I
right,
get it.
yeah.
And
Right.
that can come in a lot of shade. Is all I'm saying. But the key is, what I guess my point is, you don't know it all. Be
Right.
open to understanding that somebody,
It's okay
whether
to
it's
seek
a
help.
best friend or whether it's an outside party or
Right.
whomever it may be, it's okay
To
to
seek help,
right.
right.
that you might need a little bit of help. And
Absolutely.
ain't nothing wrong with that.
At all. Right.
I get it. I
Right.
get it.
And I mean, that's the thing, though. I think in the black community right now as a whole, we was talking about, I guess lately, even this past year, it's been a big thing about mental health,
Yeah.
and that's important. And I really think
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you seek and that you talk to people,
Right.
if you're dealing with those issues. But I will also say that a lot of us need spiritual renewing.
Wow.
And it's not just you
Yeah.
can listen. My mind can process anything I put in it. I could
Right.
put Harry Potter spells in my head and run that right next to Bible verses.
Okay.
But that's not what grounds you. You know what I mean? The spiritual relationship.
Somebody asked if you single.
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
They asked, was he single, right? Uh-oh.
Oh,
They
okay.
ain't want you to see.
Okay. Ask me, was I single? But spiritual renewal, we can't, and you know what I mean? Because you hear people say, "Oh, you make sure you take care of your mental health," and I'm not knocking it.
Okay.
But what I want people to realize is that is not the same as spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to work on the way you think. You need to work on the way you process. You need to work on the way you problem solve.
Right.
But deeper than your thought
Mm-hmm.
resides your spirit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I honestly believe like we receive our impulses from spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And those impulses turn into, I'll say unctions. And then that turns into a thought. And then the thought turns into a desire. Then the desire turns into a course of action. But everything is birthed from the spirit.
Wow.
And that's honestly
Yeah.
what I believe. And a lot of times we can go, and that is why, it's not a sin. And it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I built the life that I thought I wanted to live.
Mm-hmm.
Because God gave you a mind. That just meant you spent a lot of time in your head
Yeah.
and outside of your spirit.
Right.
And then as you grew and realized, hey, my head is way over here, but my
Yeah.
spirit is way over here.
Right.
And now I feel divided. Now there's no
Wow.
peace in my life because I'm outside of myself.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
I
it's
know
funny
exactly what you mean.
because you find yourself outside yourself, and most of the time you outside God will
Wow.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why I say when you know
True.
God,
Wow.
you can find out who you are.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
those two things really go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because when you
Yeah.
know God, you know you. And like me, I think to this point, it's not just toot my own horn, but I know my limit with people.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
that guy that used to get upset and fight. I know his limits. But now if I've gotten
Wow.
older and I've practiced,
Yes.
you know, the
Yes.
things that the Bible say to walk in the peace of God and to, you know, to walk in the spirit so I don't fulfill the lust of my flesh. Right.
Right,
Okay, because
right.
back in the day, a smart word would have got a response. But guess what?
Yeah,
Now I'm
now.
not even,
Yeah.
and I know.
You know your triggers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the grace
yeah.
that abides and that remain with me now is not on my own strength, it's him.
Wow.
Because I know, like, if he
Come
took
on.
that off
Come
of
on
me,
now.
if he took that off of me, I'll
Wow.
be right back
Where you were.
where I was.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow,
And
wow.
and that's really
That's deep.
the whole process. It's like
Yeah.
you got to have everything. We were created to have him as a part of our experience.
All right.
God
Yeah, that's good stuff.
built himself into our experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a sad thing to live or to try to enjoy, to try to understand this whole world. That's why I say, you know, you can gain the whole world and still lose your soul. You can have all this stuff and still not have that.
Wow.
That part that is like God, that part of you that was created in his image.
Yeah.
And there's
yeah.
nothing out here that you can actually take, you know, that will replace that.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
that's why you say, and I said last week, like my biggest fear was always to be really successful and spiritually empty.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Just spiritually empty because there's so much
yeah.
in this world that you can
Yeah.
consume.
Absolutely.
Trying to find that peace.
Yeah.
And this is what we
yeah.
see a lot of times in these celebrities, and we love to see them, you know, oh, they doing good. Well, I don't know why they do, you know,
Right,
they doing the
right.
drugs and now they done OD'd and, you
Yeah,
know, we
yeah.
cry, we don't understand and all this and that.
Exactly.
It is really sad because no matter how successful you are in this world,
Right.
if you are lost in your spirit, you are lost. You know what I mean? And it's really sad. And there are a lot of people dealing with that. So when we say, like, it's okay to go get help, it's okay to talk to somebody,
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's okay.
You know, it's okay to get down on your knees and not know how to pray.
It's okay.
Right.
It is okay.
Right.
It's okay. Yep.
Because
I
there
agree.
are so many people hurting and
right.
feel like
and
they
just
have
don't
to
know
have
what to
this.
do.
Right.
Yeah, they're lost, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I mean, to your point, you know, I do agree. It is okay, you know, to speak with someone. It's okay to get help, even if it's, you know, a friend, a confidant, someone that you confide in.
Right.
I do agree, you know,
Right.
whether it's a professional or someone that you know, making sure that they're able to give you sound advice,
Right.
you know, that's really going to help you and not tell you what you need to hear. That's
Right.
really important because sometimes, you know, we have people in our circle, they, for whatever reason, may not tell you what you need to hear, but if they do, be open to receive it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Take
Absolutely.
the advice that they're giving you
Right.
and use it for your good and understand that if they really know you and if they love you unconditionally,
Right.
it's coming from a place of
A good
love,
place,
right?
right.
It's coming from a place of love. As long as they're not beating you over the head with it, you
Right.
know, it's coming from a place of wanting you to get better, wanting to help
Absolutely.
you grow. And if you know those things, then be open to receive it
Right.
and do the things that you need to do in order to become the best person you can.
Absolutely.
That's the journey I'm on, man.
Absolutely. Sound like a great journey. Nicole, thank you so much.
Oh, thank
It's
you
been
for
my
having
pleasure,
me. Yeah, it's been a blast.
Seeing you after all these years and I just knew. And that's the beautiful thing about it. When you actually meet a genuine person
Yeah.
and you don't see them for years,
Yep.
you see them again and they still that genuine, beautiful person, you know, with a lot more of God's grace on them and just in power. I thank God for you joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you
Did
for
you want
having
to
me.
share some information about your businesses?
Yes.
Anyone that's looking to buy a home?
Absolutely.
Websites
Yes.
or okay, we'll go right ahead. Share that with
Absolutely.
us.
So, if you are in the market to purchase a home, if you're looking to sell your home, or if you are an investor and you need some help finding that property that you're going to hold on to as a long-term investment, you're looking for rental income, or you're wanting to flip a property and make a pretty decent profit margin on it, I am your girl. I am your realtor, Nicole. My website is Nicole. Let me get it right. Hold on, let me look, y'all, because I get confused. We just changed them.
We're young.
We are young. I'm not as, hey, it takes me a minute.
Right.
Nicole at Cole, COLE, realtygroup.com. I can be reached at 678-387-9712. And of course, if you have an event you need some help planning, or if you need some advice
Events.
on styling, if you need some help with styling you for your birthday, I just did one of my
Fashion.
I did, yeah. One of my high school classmates had the pleasure of styling her for her 50th, so that was a lot of fun. But if you need help with that, feel free to call me. I'm not an expert, but I do believe that together we can make you look fabulous.
What's what's your page where you got the fashion things on where they can go see?
Your Real Estate Style Pro
Okay. And
is
that's IG.
my Instagram,
Okay.
and then my Facebook is Nicole Lynn.
Absolutely.
The Nicole Lynn Experience.
The Nicole Lynn Experience. Y'all.
Yes. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you again for having me.
I appreciate you being
Yes,
here. Y'all live
absolutely.
right, so and do right.
Do
You
right.
know, and let God have the glory out of your life. No beautiful life is without struggle. No beautiful person was just born that way. We all come and we all experience different things. I appreciate you, Nicole, for being here and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Thank
Please
you,
do come
Disco.
again. Thank you, Disco, for sitting in. He always,
Yeah.
here doing his thing. But
That's what's up.
I just want to say thank everybody for coming out tonight. Hopefully you were, got something out of this that could help you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.